Hello and welcome once again to our final installment of this week and with the Coopers, at least for now. I hope to have them back on again. I think you will be too. Let me know what you think because I'm sure we're going to continue to get all kinds of good feedback because it's an incredible testimony. Thank you for joining us and welcome to the Authority of Love. I'm excited to welcome Mike and Denisa back for the wrap up of this week, day 5. However, I'm also going to miss them as it's been a very insightful and we've had a lot of fun. Now, if you missed any of the previous programs, you can check out wjmm.com, go to the podcast tab, and click on the Love and Lordship links. You'll get today's and the previous 2 days. If you want more, you got to go to the Love and Lordship page at Podbean. P-O-D as in dog, B as in boy, Podbean. Go to loveandlordship.podbean.com, or you can watch videos. You may want to do that. Go to vimeo.com/love and lordship. So welcome again, Denise and Mike. Thanks for joining me not only today but all week. It's been great. It's been fun.
It has.
And you guys have done a fabulous job. I knew you would because I know you let the Lord and the Holy Spirit lead you. You mentioned something while we were between shows, and Mike did, and I thought I asked your permission on this, but give us a little bit more history about you because the Authority of Love and Love and Lordship is about, you can see it there, building every life and relationship on the love and lordship of Jesus Christ. And our mission is making disciples who make disciples in the love and lordship of Christ in every home, church, and beyond. Well, you guys didn't start out that way, right? You told me you were voted most likely not to make it, right?
Yeah, by my friends.
Yeah, by your friends, right? By all your friends, right? And always got. So tell us that story.
Yeah, we basically hung around with my friends from high school. I was a year older, but I met Denisa. She was 16. I was 17. And we argued quite a bit, I might say. I always said we were testing our boundaries, but we argued quite a bit, and it was rather tumultuous at times. And our friends thought we wouldn't make it because they were all with their childhood sweethearts. But we've been together now, married 43 years, together 49, and all those that said we wouldn't make it didn't.
So let me ask you this before you go far. No, they didn't, and you did.
And we did.
You know what that is. We're going to talk about that for a minute. But you weren't walking with the Lord those first 6 years of cohabiting. Can I say that?
Somewhat, sometimes.
Some of it, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And even early in the marriage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. You said the first several years in Knoxville with your
definitely
real
wasn't a
estate.
Christ ordained relationship for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's why I said I want to talk about this and kind of tie up the week with this because it's impacted everything else you've done.
It has.
So what was the transition? When did you begin to see that? You got married 6 years into the relationship,
We
right?
did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fill in the gaps there for people.
Go ahead, Denisa. You want to go back? Well, we got married. I was 24. She was 22. 22. And for a number of years, we led our lifestyle, not following the Lord, just pretty much eat, drink, and be merry, I might say.
Yeah.
And did that for a long time.
Was it fun for a while?
It was a lot of fun. I hate to say it.
We had no intentions of having kids.
No.
It was all about making money.
Yep.
And about Mike and Denisa, right?
Yeah, and retiring early and sailing away on a boat. Or,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
The American dream. We talked about that a couple of days ago, right?
When I was in my early 20s, one of my biggest goals, which I realized how shallow it was I wanted to be retired in my mid-40s. And I was working at UPS, and that was the path to do it. And I didn't care if it was going to kill me or not. I was going to do it.
So you're going to be retired but dead.
Yeah, so I was, actually that's what really happened. It changed my life.
Yeah.
We fast forward, it's almost 20 years. I'm sitting on the couch one day and I look at Denisa and we don't have any kids. We're living this lifestyle. And I said, do you realize that we're going to be rich probably in about 5 or 6 years? And she turned to me and looked at me on the couch. She says, you won't, I will, you'll be dead. And it hit me like a ton of rocks.
Now, how obviously that was heavy on her heart.
It
Not
had
just
to be.
it killing you, but what was it doing to the marriage? I mean, by the time you get 20 years down the road, even if it's just you two, and you're workaholic, is that a fair statement?
Pretty much.
Yeah,
that's why we didn't have any kids.
Because you thought that was the way to reach these goals.
Yes.
You found you pushed the ladder against the wall and got to the top and found out it was the wrong wall, right?
Yeah.
So what prompted that to say?
Well, I don't really know. I know that, we were so involved in who we were.
Yeah.
You know,
The image.
Cars,
yes,
what it looked
who
like.
we were
Cars,
and
money.
how much we had done ourselves to get to that
Yeah.
point.
Material.
I mean, when we moved
So
up
mammon.
here, we moved
yeah.
up
The
here
stuff.
and built a house.
Yeah.
And I honestly thought I would continue selling real estate and visit him on the weekends.
Yeah.
And
Every couple or 3 weeks.
yeah, and he we went out to dinner, and I'll never forget that night. He was like, you know what? I'm not going to live up here by myself.
Yeah.
And I honestly debated on, do I want to stay married and move up
Yeah,
here, or do I want to get a divorce and stay who I am in Knoxville?
Yeah, because the superficial
That's right.
structure that you put
Who am
together
I?
wasn't going to hold up for
No,
this,
it
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so, you know, I made the choice to go ahead and move up here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
boy, it's been great.
And there again,
Yeah.
didn't seem like you were on the right track.
No,
Well, you weren't.
No, we
You
had
weren't.
a great plan for our lives, but
Yeah.
we realized it was our plan,
Yeah.
man's plan, but not God's plan. I
Yeah,
mean,
so-
honestly.
And so we're kind of winding this week down and wrapping it up. We're coming back full
Yeah.
circle to what you shared on Monday and Tuesday.
Right.
You leave all of that.
Right.
You're not really walking with the Lord.
No.
Your marriage is probably on sand right now, really.
Right.
Even though you've been together
Yeah.
for 13, 14
Yeah.
years, or 20 years, but
20 years,
6 of it
Yeah.
not married. So what did the Lord do with that? Not only did he get your attention personally, but what did he do in your marriage? Because you weren't really
Oh.
sold on being up here, were you?
Oh, not at all.
Yeah, yeah.
no,
No,
not
no.
at all.
Well, I remember she was dressed to the nines that night too, and I looked at her across the table, and she looked so great. And I looked at her and I said, "You have 6 months to move." And she looked at me with tears and shock in her eyes. She says, "What?" And I said, "I'm not walking the halls alone." And that's how I felt. I
Yeah,
felt all
yeah.
alone up here. And well, you know, which
Yeah.
that's all about me once again.
Sure,
you know what
sure.
I mean? Just once again. And so she gave it some thought, and she decided, and she goes, "Well, who would I be? You know, I won't be anybody.
Self-identity,
I won't be
right?
anybody
not,
up here.
not in the Lord,
You know,
right? I won't
You've
be
got the
anybody,
business.
right.
Who am I going to be?
Right.
You know,
Now, and you were doing the store
by myself.
Oak
Yes.
Factory at that time.
By myself.
Okay.
For a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And so we were apart a full year before she made the move, and she actually thought we were going to have a long distance relationship
Yeah.
from then on. So
And that was wow.
it didn't work. No, I
No.
couldn't be. I
No.
couldn't be a single and not single.
Right.
No.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
I
Couldn't
moved
do it.
up here and discovered that being a nobody was great.
Yeah.
It
The
was
Lord opened
great.
your eyes, didn't
Yeah,
it? Yeah.
boy, he did.
I don't have. There's a whole
He
lot,
did.
lot less burden
Yeah,
on that one,
there
right?
is.
Yeah.
Which is part of what Jesus is trying to tell us when
Right.
he says, "Take my yoke upon you."
Yeah. And we didn't change
Right.
overnight either.
No, no, no.
I'm going to tell
no,
you, when she came up
nobody
here, we
does.
still kind of brought ourselves with us.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and then
Capital S selves.
yes, and then
Right.
she went to the revival, and
Yeah.
that's when God started moving. You know,
Yeah.
so
What did he teach you, not only about yourself, because it has to start there. That's what they say. What did he teach you about marriage? Because obviously there had to be some changes there with what you had been doing. You were still together. You knew you wanted to be together, even though you weren't really sure here or whatever, right? At least for you,
Yeah.
right? But you had this business. You left others. What did God start teaching you about marriage now?
he taught me that our relationship together, Denisa and I, was like our relationship with him.
Yeah.
And it's hard
Yeah.
sometimes because
Yeah.
we're so self-centered. We only care about ourselves. And that's how we are with God too. I
Yep.
mean, and I think he created marriage. I've said this before,
Oh.
just to teach us about what relationship and commitment means.
And-
Because if we can
yeah.
commit to somebody on this earth,
Yeah.
if we can't do that, how can we commit to God?
Well, and I'll flip it back to the other way. The Bible talks about that.
Yeah.
But if we don't understand, I use the term all the time when you just alluded to it, dying to self.
Yeah, how can we do it?
And if I can't do that for the person who gave his life for me,
No.
can I do it with the person who disagrees with me 50% of the time or more?
Right.
Right? So whether you really understand that, that literally is God's design.
Yes.
And matter of fact, he gave us marriage before the fall.
He certainly did.
So you're going to have to learn how to deal with.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what it would have been like had they never eaten the fruit. It would have been a whole lot better. But I think there would still been things that Adam needed to learn about Eve and Eve needed to learn about Adam.
That was our free will.
Yeah.
And we needed
Yes.
that. We needed that to learn who God was. Without free will, how would we know who God is?
We would not know what love is.
No, we would not.
There is no love without you choosing. If you love me, you will obey my commands.
No.
Right?
Because how do you commit to something bigger than you?
If it's all about you.
Yeah.
You got to die to that. Okay, let's take it a step further then. What about parenting? I mean, you've told the story this week about Jean's birth and all the things about Samantha coming along and the adoption there. What did God teach you in that? Because that's another whole step.
I was raised in a house, my parents never opened a Bible.
Yeah.
But our kids have seen us read the Bible, especially their mother.
Yeah.
Their mother has been so faithful.
Yeah.
Denisa has. But on a day-to-day basis, we've taught our children about God and who God is and the love of God. And we've tried to model that to them, and our marriage together, we've tried to honor each other, and we've tried to treat each other like Christ would have treated the church. So.
What do you think, Denisa? I'll ask you this. What do you think it would have looked like had you had kids and never really come to know the Lord? Because everything you're saying right now is the fact that you did come to know the Lord and started to change. Not about me, dying to self. What do you think it might have been like to have these kids and have the difficulties?
We wouldn't have had them.
Oh, I think that, and I think the kids would be, kids would be lost.
Yeah.
They've got a foundation, and that's so important
and they're still
today, and with families, And I just want to make a mention that, we start our day every day, even when we had kids, we would get up early before they got up and spend time with the Lord.
Yes.
You have to do that because once the kids get up, there is no, there's too much chaos to try and spend time with the Lord, and that has been the stepping stone of our relationship. It is.
It really is.
You've got to do that.
Yeah, I always said I thought we had a great plan for our life. We had our life planned out. I had my life planned out, and Denise was with me. But I figured, we're going to retire early, eat, drink, and be merry. Little did I know we were going to die. What would we have had? We wouldn't have had our children. We wouldn't have had our church, our faith.
Right.
And all that came because it turned out His plan was better than ours.
Yeah. There's no doubt, and I've heard it over and over again. You guys are sitting here as living testimony of we went through all that, had it right on the doorsteps, and literally handed it over to the Lord, gave it over.
Yeah.
And look what you have now.
Yeah.
And I just want to make a mention that, living your life for Christ doesn't mean it's going to be easy.
Nope.
We've had our
the Bible tells us it
that's
won't
right.
be.
Oh, no.
And owning the store, it's been feast or famine
Yes.
all the way through.
Yeah.
I mean, COVID, there is no way we would have survived if it wasn't for His grace.
No.
Right.
It's just,
Or the
it's been
recession.
feast or famine. And with the kids and the medical things, but how can you possibly do any of this without Him?
Yeah.
No.
I don't know. I see people go
No.
through it and they've got nothing to lean on, but it's a great chance to introduce them.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And that's what you guys have
That's
talked
right.
about.
That's what we
And
want
so
to do.
here, I do want to say this. Thank you all for supporting
Thank you, Greg.
the authority of love and love and lordship. Thank you for being on. I do want you to get me a couple of those ads.
Okay.
Because I want to start running some of those ads for you.
Okay.
Yeah, I told you I do. You said, don't worry about it. But I'd like to
Yeah,
run some of those
sure.
ads so people can hear more and know how to contact, come in and see you. We got holidays coming up and all that. So thank you again. Next week, we'll pick up with more of this and move more toward Thanksgiving and then on into Christmas. I'm a holiday freak, if any of you know me. So anyway, we'll get into that. And I want to thank you again for joining us. Thanks to Denisa and Mike for a great week and for their witness and testimony of Christ. Love you guys, and God bless.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you all.
God bless.
Thank you for joining us. Thanks always for your prayers and to the Lord. Make it a great day, and God bless in Christ. Join us again next Monday to hear more about love and lordship and the authority of love. I'm Greg Williams, and you're listening to the authority of love.